All right, welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About Lego. Tonight, we're going to do one that we haven't done before. We're jumping completely into something new. We're going to be talking about space. So Brick Monarch is actually, or Brick Monarch, also known as Andrew, he's going to be joining me. He's on the road, and he's going to be joining me from Florida tonight. He's all the way down at the bottom of the United States. So let me invite him, and we'll get started on talking about Lego Space.
Hey, what's up, man?
Thank you. How are you doing? So I told everybody we were talking about space. I didn't mention the theme yet, and I wanted to welcome everybody on. Hey, Heather's Bricks, good to see you. Thanks for joining. And I also mentioned you're joining from Florida, so you're way down at the bottom of the United States here. So
working, tired,
on the road. All right. Well, I'll try and keep it lively here, and we'll bust out our topic tonight, which is we're going to talk about Futuron, Lego Space,
1987, 88, and 89.
It is. It's a cool thing.
Very cool.
Yeah, and I think earlier we were talking, for some reason, some dates put it into the 1990, and I think it was just because of one of the minifig packs.
Yeah.
Might have had one of the figures in it. But as far as I know,
I do know this. I know that the classic space stuff was very confusing when they were like, it wasn't like the Castle came out. It was like, here's the lions, here's the dragons, here's the falcons. It was kind of a confusing mess.
Right.
For years.
Okay, sure. Because and how long I didn't do too much digging into the foundations of Futuron, which is really classic space. But how long that ran for quite a while before they introduced a faction. Okay, so yeah, so it was around, and I
over
didn't
40
count
years
the
ago.
There
was a lot, but then there was. In the classic space, which was like you said, the kind of like the starting point for Futuron. They had some European releases and then re-releases of the same sets in other countries. Okay. So there was a lot of the same thing, similar set numbers and names and whatnot, but they were released in different years in different countries. So that was kind of interesting.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a big handful of a lot of fairly similar looking sets, though they have some quite unique ones, like basically a classic Lego Space AT-AT from Star Wars, as well as some other things. I can understand why it would be a little bit more of a confusing thing, because they had colored, specifically colored, like blue, was it blue, yellow, red?
Yeah, black. Yeah.
Black? Was there a gray one too, or no gray one? I can't remember. So yeah, but they didn't. They all belong to the same faction.
Yeah, like you said,
classic
kind of
space.
like the civilian unit, if you would.
Right. Yeah, they didn't seem to be fighting anyone much. They were just out.
We should make note too that the classic space from Benny, where the whole suit was one color. Changed in 87 with Futuron, and that became the zipper one, where it was like the bottom half was white and the top half was black, or color, whatever. Same symbol, right? But
exactly.
That was the zipper introduction across the chest, diagonal.
Right. When Futuron and Blacktron came onto the scene. Yeah. James 5 Westman says, "What a beautiful theme. Always loved the minifigs." Yep. We were just talking about their design. It's a nice merging. I think it's one of the best ways you could take something like classic space and introduce new details while maintaining the new helmets. It's a good new helmets. Yeah. So Futuron and Blacktron introduced the new Visored Helmets, and I think they came in at least 2 different trans colors.
Yeah, I think it was
dark blue
and
another one. Was it a
that one came out a little later. I think in the Futuron series it was all the same color. There's just different colored helmets.
The dark blue.
But it was the good helmet. The one you could actually put the visor all the way up.
Right, right. It was an actual helmet with a visor, the whole kit there. Yeah. Lady Brick says spaceship, which of course, I mean, you gotta. It's the space theme. It's the space fly. We gotta yell spaceship. Yeah. So I was kind of making note of what we were just talking about. It's basically an upgraded classic space theme.
It is. It's you know, it's the colors. The colors started coming into this with the white and the black, whereas the classic space was like lots of blues and like gray. Like all the spaceships were like gray.
Solid. Yeah. Yeah, gray. There's some white.
But see,
gray and white,
you know,
and then there was a
lot. The
lot
Futuron release, it
blue.
kind of set the standard of like, hey, this is a faction, and these are their colors, white and black.
Mm-hmm.
White and black with the blue lens was Futuron, which also later became what? What's the other one that you like?
You're not talking about no, I don't remember now.
They had the same color concept. No.
Space Police?
It was like yeah, Unitron.
Are you talking about the white and the blue?
Explorians was white and black with blue lenses, yeah.
Explorians is almost like if Unitron or if Futuron kind of showed up later, because they feel more civilian in that regard. They're less military, but it's way later, right? Like 90s.
I want to say that was late 90s, actually.
Yeah, it was like 90, probably 95, 98. Yeah, something like that area for those guys. So Jason likes them all, says Heather's Birch. Yeah, I end up pretty much saying I like everything.
He claims to be a super castle guy, and everybody knows him as the castle guy, but show him a box of flowers and Legos, and he's like, yeah, I love it.
Show me a box of Fabuland.
All the way to Fabuland Island.
I'm jumping on that train. All the way to Fabuland Island. Ocean Beach Brick says about 95% on classic space. Still need unnamed sets. I've been making a checklist of Bricklink for the past year. Nice. So you're that's 95% is pretty darn close.
Yeah, that's
man.
A lot.
You're right there. Yeah, still not quite sure the total number of classic space sets. There are a few good YouTube videos. Yeah. So, Futuron was the next logical step in classic space to solidify it into faction-based space themes. And I see it very similar mirror, or as a way of kind of a similar mirror to Castle, where they're like, classic Castle was yellow castles and a bunch of random factions that never showed up anywhere else. And like, they had some standard stuff, but most of it was kind of just all over. And then you had Black Knights, Crusaders, Black Falcons, and it split everything up into succinct factions, which is really cool. And we see that
because
very
from here
in space.
Blacktron comes out like the following year. Mtron follows. Space Police jumps in there quick. And then, before too long, Ice Planet is in there.
Yeah,
so like it gets pretty crazy after this run of Futuron right here.
Yeah. I think Blacktron may have even dropped with Futuron.
Well, I mean, the Blacktron, the new Blacktron, where they had the all black with like the belt, the gray belt looking front. That came out, and I think that was the one that came out in 90 with the minifigs.
Okay. It may have. I do remember reading somewhere that the Futuron and the Blacktron were considered to be rivals in the same time era. So I don't.
If I remember correctly, when I was doing some research, the Space Police came in between them. So, you had the Futuron and Blacktron was introduced first as rivals, and then the following year they introduced the Space Police that kind of came in and like kind of neutralized the.
Yeah, what's interesting about that is I think so. Funny thing about the Futron, considered that most people view them as a civilian faction. They were toting some fat lasers on those ships and some of those bases.
Dude, big guns,
like
trains,
they were
monorails, bases.
They were pretty heavily armored for a peace-loving civilian mining faction or whatever you want to call it. I understand, though, that they would have been more of a defensive. If anything, they were a defensive faction. They weren't out there trying to conquest necessarily, but they do have some pretty heavy armament. Yeah. And I did notice that as a civilian faction, it was you'd think like you'd have your civilian faction, then you'd have like another faction, which technically I would have considered maybe space police to come alongside and be the like armored guard for the civilians. But these civilians seem to take care of things themselves pretty well.
So it's kind of cool because there's like a mix. You have a healthy mix here of, you know, big guns, research stations, satellites, all kinds of stuff, and then later they start breaking those elements up into like specific factions. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right, yeah. I mean. Yeah, if you look at the complete, what is it, almost over 21 set release of Futron alone, not including the Blacktron that kind of came with them, they are a very completed faction, and I think that's why it's considered like it's less a civilian faction and more of a civilization faction, because you have, like you just said, everything. You got mining ship type things. You got explorers. You've got trains. You got a base. You got 2 home bases in this one faction, like. So, yeah, you got little explorers and walkers and all kinds of stuff. Very well-rounded, large
and for
faction space stuff,
coming
for sure.
right after, you know, the classic space. I mean, because let's be honest. I mean, the classic space was cool, but the building type was just very, very blocky and generic. You know,
there was a little chunky going on for sure.
And Futron was kind of was refined. It was the refined space that kind of led the way for the space stuff that was coming out in the future. I feel like, because it's, you know, you could put some of this Futron stuff right next to Space Police 3, and it would look good.
Or even like an ice planet.
You know, it'd look good right next to it. So yeah, it was light years ahead.
Also, it feels like they may have gotten some new blood in the design team, because there's very distinct differences in the designs from Classic Space into Futron. Like, use of arts is unreal. Sideways building, you got castle walls being used upside down. Like, they have base, like, wind screen base building bricks used on ships, which you then see later. That's a fun little thread they like to carry in Lego Space, where they I think it's a mega core magnetizer has the space
that
window
one has
on their vehicle
round.
There. Quarter one, which
was
introduced on Futron.
On the monorail had them.
So
and,
it is.
That was it. That was it in Futron. But then the cosmic laser launcher had the big, like, the same size, but it was just like the one wall piece.
Yeah, that one and Star Defender 200.
Which obviously, which was also used in the same way later on in Blacktron.
Yes. Yeah, and I think Blacktron actually might have had a yellow half, like,
I can't remember.
On the side of their
that might be right. Or no, I don't think it was. I think it was two side ones with the Blacktron emblem on it. I'm pretty sure. The one that goes on that black moon base, raised base plate.
Yeah, well, so the center, the main base, you're right. The center has those two, but then there's a funky, like, sectional that is connected by, like, a weird thing on the side. And I was looking at
you
what
could be right.
sets come with that.
That year of Blacktron for a while.
Yeah, I looked at a tiny little image earlier today just to kind of like get a reference, and I'm pretty sure I saw it in the corner. So anyway, either way, that was introduced in this wave of Lego sets. But yeah,
and
looking at the designs of these Futron, it's phenomenal. It's such a cool part. Yeah, I love it. You were talking earlier about how you stopped.
Oh yeah, I did, man. I went on an Ice Planet bender buying parts for this big obnoxious plan that I had, and I was like buying every one that was available on Bricklink. I was ordering them from Germany, the Netherlands, whoever had most. But yeah, I've got a bunch of those orange quarter panels.
Yeah. Well, now you have a bunch for when you dig into that. When you have all that extra free time, you're going to have. One of these days. Let's see. We got Blockhead 23. Seriously, one of my favorite live streams of the week. This one? Well, thank you. It's only like half done or barely even started, but we're going to try and maintain that energy and try to keep it that way the rest of the live stream. We got Retro Bricks. I'm going to run through some comments real quick because we're getting lit up here. I believe the explorers were space paleontologists digging up alien fossils and whatnot, and I believe you're absolutely correct. So kind of civilian, but I guess you could have been funded by a intergalactic government to go explore alien life that way too. So maybe not. Maybe they had ties to other entities. True North Bricks, yes, love the M-Tron Blacktron rivalry. Right, so the Blacktron 2 was in direct rivalry with the M-Trons. I believe they were trying to steal their magnetic technology, and some of the promotionals it talks about that.
M-Tron was magnet. M stands for magnet.
Yeah.
If somebody didn't know that.
Just in case. Yeah, just in case. Yes, let's see. True North Brick. Yes, the Blacktron minifig was my favorite one of all time. It's a good one for sure. Ocean's Bricks ended up building the 17 Futuron sets in Blacktron colors. Ooh, now working on Classic Space in Blacktron colors. Dude, just a whole fleet, complete overtake of space in Blacktron. Like if Blacktron had won,
it'd be way cooler.
And they just took over everything.
Ice Planet.
Dude, Ice Planet would be sick. Just every space set in Ice Planet.
Cool. Yeah,
that's amazing. Good job too. That's
I'd
that's
love to see,
actually
I'd love to see pictures of that.
Yeah, same for sure. Let's see, Epic Bricks. There were two Blacktron. M-Tron was against Blacktron. Yeah. Okay, we went over that. 100%. You're correct. James 5 Westman says big guns 6953 cosmic laser launcher. Yeah, right. Like that's why I'm like civilian. Definitely heavily defended civilians, which maybe you need.
How about that
scrolling
set
around?
New right now is $986. Yeah, the cosmic
that
laser
one,
launcher.
The laser one. Ooh, buddy.
Yeah,
that's
new,
the
that's
base,
new
right?
in box.
But,
I mean, I think Lego is probably the only person that has that in the box still. I know.
You'd be surprised. I found this damn ship right here. I saw someone on eBay had like 7 of them in a box, sealed, just sitting in a cardboard box. Like they had just like swiped them from like Walmart like 20 years ago.
If we were all smart, we would have done that in the 80s.
So, right. All of us now thinking about it. But yeah, so there are people out there, man, that have those stockpiles. True North Brick says those bubble style cockpits really defined the building style for me and brought the designs up to notch. Well, yeah, absolutely. And it wasn't just the big one; it was the smaller one too. The little hexagon one or the octagon. It's an octagon. Yes. Yeah. They use those. They slap those on the solid white ones and the trans blue ones. Put those.
It is.
It's
so
such a cool part.
And you just need like the base piece of the hinge to connect to anything, and those come in all the colors normally.
Yeah, I agree. It is a perfect showcase of the elegance of some of the old Lego parts. It's like, oh, that part is designed perfectly. Like that's the way it's supposed to be. Yeah, I totally agree on that one. Let's see. Those black windows on bases seem rare. Probably talking about the large like sectionals for the Blacktron base there. Yeah, they're all of those larger style space parts are getting a little harder to get a hold of. Retro Brick, was Futuron the first monorail, or was there one in classic space? Yeah, we had this discussion a while back. We were like, because I couldn't remember if they had done some funky like blue one.
It was the first monorail, and it released at $155.
Right.
That was in
when
1987, which was the most expensive Lego set out.
Think about that. Still $155 back then.
Now it's
that's
worth
impressive.
$2,200 new.
Well, now, fun. There was of course I don't remember because I forgot to write this fact down about the monorail set, but I think it was it had over 10 feet of linear track. 10 or 12 feet, it said in somewhere. So those track pieces were quite long, and I guess if you lined them all up, you could make about 10 feet of track.
And then they also released that expansion pack with Futuron as well. The Accessory Pack 6921. Right. Yeah,
so you could just
and
double
back in the
track.
day, it was $34. It came with all the stands, all the track pieces.
Yeah. Guess what? Dude. Today, one of those pieces of track is $34.
That's absolutely insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so I could be wrong about this, but I feel like I had a conversation, or I remember this from somewhere, someone saying that there was a patent or some design on those track pieces that Lego lost, or the copyright, or they were designed by someone else and they no longer had the license after they released those 3. Because there's only 3 Lego sets, really, or 5 if you include the 2 expansion pack kits that have these types of tracks on them. So what's out there is all we're ever really going to get, because Lego's can't make any more of them. And so that's part of the reason why they're so expensive. Now. I actually have a couple of these. Yeah, these guys, and look how big they are.
Yeah,
like they're bigger than my head.
That's
they're very large.
I mean, you could spend $4,000 building an amazing track system out of those.
Yeah, very easily. And then here's one of these. This is really cool. You can see how it would stop the train.
Yeah,
by turning the little arrow. There's a tab on the motor, and the motor would. The tab would hit this thing, and it would either reverse it or stop it at the station, depending on how you decided to turn it.
Yeah, that's super cool. I've never actually owned or seen or held any of those monorail parts.
They're cool parts. I was looking at the design. I don't know if you can see the teeth on here. Yeah, I don't think they'd be able to pull that off with today's plastic either. Because, think about the wear that would go onto that. And we have quite a bit softer plastic with the new Lego now. I don't think they'd even attempt it.
There was a super cool,
even
somebody, I can't remember who it was, but I think it was at the Brick Show in Alabama, in Huntsville, I think is where it was. Crystal and I went to it, and there was a really nice big monorail display with this giant Blacktron building in it. It was all custom. It was pretty cool though. It was pretty cool. It was a lot of that track.
That sounds awesome.
There was a lot going on.
Yeah. Yeah. I love seeing big displays at conventions using that track, because it's a very cool track to use. It works really well, actually. Yeah, I like it a lot. So a fun, that only came on 2 other Lego sets. I wrote them down somewhere. Now I can't even find them. It was the airport one.
Yeah.
And the other. Oh, here we go. Airport shuttle and the monorail transport base for Unitron, which I have back. You kind of see it right there. Those are the only 2 other sets that it ever came on. Although it would have come on Seatron if they had actually released that instead of Aquazone. There was an image of another track on the Seatron Lego sets that were never released, but were prototype sets, and I think precursors to what we finally got in Aquazone. So that's a fun fact about those tracks. We may have had them on another set, but we didn't.
That's new information to me. I didn't have any idea about that. That's true, though.
Yeah, well, Citron's cool. They had these little green dudes with flippered feet molded on their feet. And this was stuff like back in the late 80s that they were molding, and they never released. But it was cool. It was cool stuff. But yeah, there's some random lore about the track pieces. They're quite interesting. I'm going to wave to everybody. Thanks for joining. Thank you so much. Hey, guys. Welcome on. We're talking about Futuron for those of you guys who are just joining us tonight. So far, we've had some pretty lively comments and discussion about classic space. Let's see. Danish space program's jumping in. I've talked to him a couple times about different stuff. Shoot him a message if you have a question about classic space. He can help you out for sure. It was also the biggest space set, period. Oh, the Monorail. Yeah, with over 700 pieces. So just the biggest space set ever made till...
Yeah, 731.
At that time. Lego, the Lego Den says that Deep Freeze Defender,
I love that
though. That's the ice planet.
The big ice planet spaceship. Yeah, I have that built.
Dude, Danish space program coming in with some fighting words. Hot take: Blacktron 2 had better sets overall than Blacktron 1. That's a real rivalry. That's like a rivalry. I'm trying to like equate it to something else in like Castle or something. But like, yeah, that's a real thing people talk about. Well, maybe it's almost as intense as a rivalry between Castle fans and space fans.
No, Blacktron 1 was it was very dark.
It was
all
lot
black
of
parts and like yellow trams.
Yeah. You know, though, let's give Blacktron a little bit of love here because they had that one set, the Renegade, one of the coolest looking ships that I think Lego's done in a while. Like, I honestly, some of my top ships.
I know which one Renegade you're talking about. Man. It looks like a space shark. It's just got a super aggressive feel to it.
Yeah. It's very well made, especially for the time. Probably. A little ahead of its time, I feel like. Like, I'll give them that. That one. Other than that, I love the designs of Blacktron 2. The big orb ships, that I can't remember the one, but it had the little, like, green bubble with the ship coming off the back with the wings, the fan.
Yeah,
that's such a good-looking ship, man.
But anyway, we're talking about Futuron tonight.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the topic. Sorry if I missed your guys' questions or comments. I did scroll back and try to get as many as I could. But yeah, getting back on track. Speaking of track, we're talking about the Monorail. It was the first, so I think actually we covered everything on there. One thing about the Monorail, it was the only set in space to include the backdrop from their actual promotional sets. You could get a cardboard backdrop, which had that image you could put in back of some of your sets and take like photos or whatever. Yeah, it is cool. It's $150 on Bricklink for a piece of cardboard. We can probably print up some of the. You should sell those on your shop.
When I was a kid.
Print up a real nice.
Yeah, when I was a kid, man, I wanted those big backdrops like that for Space and Castle and Pirate. And now with the industry that I'm in, I could print those with my eyes shut.
That could be a cool like multi. Now we're just talking about products we could make, but that'd be a multi-pack, man. You get two space ones, maybe a 2 or 3 classic Castle ones, a pirate one. And they could be something people could slide behind their photos. People that maybe don't have some of those resources to build their own or have the digital skills, right? That'd be cool, man. I would go for that.
Western backdrops.
All right, let's see.
Heather said that.
Oh, you say Wild West? Oh, yeah, dude, yeah. See, Heather and I, we like the Wild West stuff.
All those weird sets.
We get the Native American villages and like all crazy stuff going on. She has I think she has quite a few. I've seen a couple photos from her. She's got some pretty nice Wild West sets. Let's see. James 5 says, Brick Monarch with new product. Would buy the pirate one in a heartbeat. Cool. There you go. You already got a customer. Oh, she has the 3D puzzle, which is about as popular as my. I got to bring it out, man. You know it. The 3D puzzle. It's about as popular as this guy right here. Every time, bro.
The thing looks like a good BB target.
No. Oh, that'd be so sad, dude. You know, the Wild West puzzle's kind of crazy because you could 3D build a canyon for like the little guys to sit on, and like you could put the sets around it. So it was kind of cool. It was like 3D buildable terrain, but it was like a cardboard.
Yeah. What was it, like one of those like kind of like pop-up type things?
Similar. She would know better. It was by Rosart. Okay, yeah. I remember seeing it. I never got it. But yeah, I think it was like a map. You could build like the puzzle terrain sort of, and then I think it had a couple 3D areas that you could kind of, they weren't quite pop-up. I think they actually were more buildable cardboard structures that you could add. And they were all like glossy, like printed and everything. But it's quite a weird, it's quite a weird a little thing to have. Like I have the Time Twisters board game. Like it's just weird.
Just a weird one.
Lego was doing some weird stuff back then. Yeah, it's totally. I think it's Rosart too. I think they used Rosart to make a bunch of random stuff.
That's cool though.
But yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, it's fun. Heather's Brick says, I don't have that one. I'm assuming she means the cave.
She doesn't have the cave.
And it's foam. Interesting. So it's like a 3D foam pieces.
Yeah, I'd like
slide
to see
together.
a picture of that, Heather. That'd be nice.
She said,
if you could shoot that over to us. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Dude, I play the Time Twisters in response to Heather's Bricks. I play the Time Twisters game with my son. He's 7. He thinks it's the coolest thing ever. You can put the little guy on the time warp in the middle and spin him like a spinner. It's pretty great. Anyway, okay, so back to Futuron. Futuron was cool, man. Let's see. What are do you have any favorite sets, or did you own any, or do you own any now?
I do have a few of the little ones. The Space Patroller and the Twin-Wing Spoiler.
Dude, I have that.
I know,
what
man.
Kind of wacky name
I don't
is
know
that?
what they were thinking about when they were naming these. But yeah, I don't have a whole lot of these. Obviously, it was never really my passion, but obviously, as a kid, you know,
sure.
like I said, you get that $10 allowance on Friday and Saturday. I was going to Walmart.
Yeah,
that's how I got all the little weird one-off pirate sets and city sets, and you know, because I was like, I'm not leaving here without Lego. So if you know if something wasn't there, I was getting something else.
You want the
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, you're man on a mission.
You remember the little dune buggy with the little plastic surfer sail that had this? It was like the first sailboard. And it came with like a little dune buggy, and it had the first guy wearing just an all black shirt with the life jacket, sunglasses, and the classic guy hair.
I believe so. Yeah.
I came home with that. And I was like, this doesn't go with anything that I have. I can literally use these parts for nothing.
Yeah, put him in the box. Hey, man, I mean, if it was fun to build or mess around with for a while, that's what it was for.
Sure.
So, yeah, I remember doing stuff like that. I would get one-offs like that all the time. My brother would get some of the random ones, too. He liked some of the weirder ones, like not weirder ones, but like the ones I wasn't as interested in. So I would try to grab like a small little pirate one or something, but he'd go for like one of the like lifeguard like jet skis or the Outback helicopter.
The Brick Stash says Futuron was like an attempt of Lego to create a space town.
Dude, and that's all I want. A space town? Right? Yes, please.
Yeah, I mean, you get a couple of those cosmic laser launchers in that monorail transport center, maybe like 10 of the cosmic laser launchers. Take the laser off of half of them and make them like dormitories. like where people would live and like
right.
coexist in units.
Use a couple, yeah, and then use a couple of parts to like create walkways between a couple of them.
Yeah,
done. You've got Elon Musk's New America right on Mars. Done. Futuron. Dude, that'd be so cool if they like named the first colony on Mars.
That would be like next level. The value of these sets would go through the roof.
Yeah. Dude, it wouldn't even be funny. And then in the lobby of the main Futuron area, you'd have every Lego Futuron set under glass. Yeah. Call us, Elon. We got ideas for you, bro. Screw. Bezos can have Blacktron or whatever. I don't know.
He looks like he'd have.
Let's see. We got ABC ABC Bill's in the house. Good evening, gentlemen.
What's up, man?
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah.
You met him personally, right? Yeah. That's cool. I don't know that I've met him personally.
Don't you live in like
I've talked
the
to him
same state?
a few times now. Nah, dude, he's like down.
Well, aren't you in
Oregon
like Washington? Okay. Well,
yeah, he's like 3 hours.
That's one state away. I met him in Alabama.
Right. I know. Like that's pretty funny, actually. Robbie Duck 12 says, "I want that cave." Dude,
I think Jason
got some
will send
popularity
it
apparently.
for free, just so that I don't look at it anymore.
No, I don't. I think, yeah, you'll send it somehow from me without me knowing, so you don't have to see it every single stream. It's got an ongoing meme now, man. We got to keep it going. That was okay. Yeah, Brick Stash. So that's a great observation that it was basically like a Lego Space Town. Yeah, Futuron.
Yeah, everybody had a job. There was all kinds of jobs going on.
Yeah. Robbie Duck 12 says he got his address. Send away.
If I could just get Jason to send it to me first.
Right. You got to trick me into making you think, one, that you like the damn thing, and two, that you actually care about Fright Nights, which you got some work to do there to convince me of that. My favorite set was going again, just switch topics real quick or switch back. One of my favorite sets of all time out of the Futuron was the Star Defender 200. That thing was thick. Got the double, like the two double quad laser, whatever. Lasers coming off the front with those big, like circular or the small circular red dishes, and then those two pods using these pieces actually right here. I got one right here on the sides with those like with the main panel, the big space base panel thing window used for the cockpit. Like the wall piece. That's exactly it. Just they pulled off that design better than they should have been able to.
Yes.
And the parts they decided to put on it, like, yeah, I was impressed with that set. I don't have it. One day I would probably like to get a hold of it because it is like one of my favorite sets from there.
That one there would probably be fairly easy to acquire part-wise. I mean, that 200 blue lens would probably be tough to come by.
I might have a couple, though. So if I have one of those lying around, I probably could make it happen. So I'll have to look at the
parts. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of cool because in the Futuron series, they had those big trans blue pieces, and they all had like various. There was different prints on them. You know,
that's where I'd get screwed because I don't think mine have prints or something.
Yeah,
like I would have to check, but yeah, they do. I forgot about that. They have like a couple different ones.
The 200 was like specific to that set.
Okay. My other favorite one, or one of my favorite ones. I mean, obviously, look, we can talk about the monorail for days. That's a lot of people's white whale. You know, that's like a holy grail set for a lot of people. Right along there with the transport, the airport train one, or the airport monorail one. Those are held up as some of the like top 10 of all time sets, you know. But I really like the little the Strategic Pursuer.
Yeah,
that little funky
that's cool.
walker.
Don't you have that?
Yeah. So this guy right here, I liked the fact that it kind of stood out to me as a different style of vehicle than the rest of the ones that were portrayed in this theme as a walker, as opposed to like a rolling vehicle or one of the ships. And I could just see
a couple similar to that in later Space as well.
Yes. Well, yeah, and then you get like the Spirus, who had the large robots that were just tearing stuff apart, where their whole kind of feel was those bigger robots and stuff like that. But I like this set a lot. I could see, like, going back to the whole concept of it being a space town or community, I could see a lot of people, instead of cars in their garages, having something like
this.
Or
they would work in
and, like, walk around.
Like monorail builders or
right.
whatever.
Yeah, because you got the extra like hydraulic arms here that give you extra. It's almost like a protective like exosuit, right? That's the feel of this, and so that's why I was drawn to it, and so I ended up just finding one on eBay and picking it up. And I actually built a similar little design for Lego Divers, and somewhere you scroll down, not too far on my feed, I have it down on a little base. You can see it was inspired similar to this. And for those of you interested in what the Futurons look like, there were several different colors of this guy right here. And he had the little zipper across the front, and then he had the classic logo right there. And then we were talking about the blue visors, and then they had usually matching tanks and helmets to go with their color. So that's that guy. Those are not Futron. Sorry. Oh yeah, Futron. Yeah, I get them. I get the two. Not that I get the actual aesthetic confused with Unitron, but I get the name confused sometimes. Yeah. So that's that. It's a good set. So those are my two favorite sets, and I only own this little guy, and then the one you have, the twin wing spoiler, which is a fun set considering you can knock the wings down to legs and have
which
them walk
was kind of odd. Anyway,
it was kind of odd because like it didn't really make a lot of sense because you'd have to like go from walking to flying, and
they did a lot of weird little things with the classic space stuff like that. You're like, that's kind of
Well, I mean,
doesn't make any sense.
Sure. I mean, ultimately, I guess, a lot of it is kind of like fantasy, right? Like, you're like, man, it's some of those pictures like you see drawn from like the 50s and 60s of what future worlds might look like, and you're like, nah.
I agree. I mean, it was cool. Futuron was cool. It was a game changer for Lego Space. Yeah.
It turned a chapter.
It introduced all kinds of great stuff, new ideas, new concepts of building.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Good designs, factions, and they stuck with that for up until they stopped doing it. Really, they would split everything into factions since this one dropped. So, yeah. Oh, a fun thing about the first wave of Space Police, which we talked about coming right on the heels of this, and was kind of a mediator between the conflict going on between Futuron and Blacktron. They had the black variant of the Futuron torso on all of their guys. They didn't have a special torso for them. That's kind of an interesting little thing. Yeah, so they had just this in black, and pretty much all of the Space Police were. So it's you wonder that maybe they took the military side of their civilization and just formed Space Police out of that.
Yeah,
I could see that as being maybe some of the lore there.
Space, like the transition from classic Space to the faction, was a really weird time. Like, it was kind of like open-ended. Yeah. It was kind of confusing. None of it really made sense. But we were like, okay.
Yeah, it's like us. It's a sci-fi.
They came out with
we're down.
You're like, oh, cool, Futron.
Yeah. Futuron, and then Space Police, Blacktron, and moving into that. Yeah, you're like, oh, these make sense. And not only do they make sense, they're sophisticated, and there feels like there's some sort of backstory here, and they're like grounded in something.
Cool.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, they are. Let's see. I did find something interesting in Scandinavia in some of their promotional content. There is a leader of the Futrons known as Major White. And I guess he's a white torso guy. I don't know if he shows up in any sets, though. I was curious if he was just...
They're all... Most of them are yellow and blue.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wasn't sure if there was like a special torso for him, or they just changed out arms and pants and made him into like a white uniform guy. And it was specific to Scandinavia from what I could pick up. I didn't actually check to see if there was a photo image of the guy.
Yeah, I've never seen that, but that'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, any kind of unique, like for instance, they really did that with Space Police for the commander. He had like the little epaulets and all of that, right? Like he was very clearly their like leader. I always love finding the leaders in Lego factions because they always have like some special variant,
different face print or extra parts
Yeah, a lot of times it's as simple as like an extra part. Or a different colored part, but enough to give them that cool vibe. Kind of like, for instance, like the female in Ice Planet, like completely interesting, different minifig for that time with the hoop earrings. She looks like a gypsy, like doesn't look like she. What? I think it's funny because she's got the hoop earrings inside her helmet,
the white hair that was like all swooped over.
Yeah, well, I think she has red hair. So the trooper guy has the white hair. Like he's just like an ice dude out there just getting iced. And then she's got hoop earrings and like a red wavy hair. Totally like out of the blue, dude. And I think she only comes on 2 sets. I think she comes on the base and the main Deep Freeze Defender. But yeah, those are fun. And of course she had the commander with the mustache and the super fun. Yeah, so I always love finding the little variant dudes that are a little more special than the rest of the troops, I guess you could say. ABC Build says, so Lego finally released a 501st again. What are the odds we now get a new monorail in coming decades? Well, the odds are we're never going to see these again. But they could produce a new track piece, which they've already kind
totally
of done.
Off the table. I mean, they could create any part that they wanted.
They would have to stop doing what they love doing, which is cramming every type of other theme into city and creator. They would have to decide that they're going to embrace another full theme of science fiction-based Lego sets instead of cramming it into city, which they're doing right now. You have to wait till that's all gone before Lego will probably even consider doing something more in space. That's kind of my thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, with the Star Wars contract, there's new Star Wars stuff coming out every year. And,
Yeah, but they're no longer locked into only producing Star Wars. Now, this could be a rumor. This was a long time ago. When they first launched Star Wars, there was a massive lack of any other space-based theme in Lego. According to some people, it was because Lucas said they couldn't do it. If they made Star Wars, they could only make Star Wars because they didn't want competition.
It does.
Which just sounds like
that
Lucas,
sounds about right.
Because he was a little bit of a ching boy.
So,
still is, but I think he's regretting some of those decisions now with the way some of the Star Wars stuff has gone. He's like, wait, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But yeah, so Lego finally got out of that whole thing. We got some stuff like, I think it was I can't remember if Life on Mars was part of that, but it was like Mars Mission came out. There was a second wave of Space Police. We got Galaxy Squad. Like a ton of stuff came after that. But it's been dead for a while now, kind of like Castle. Yeah, because again, they're stuffing everything into Lego City and calling it a day. So yeah, I don't know. I'd love to see another monorail space set. That'd be so cool.
That'd be super cool, man. They'd have to have the right designer though to really make it just super great.
That is another key element. Yeah, dude, this guy's not naked. Robbie Duck 12. You got to have more imagination.
He's wearing a white
yellow suit
and he's naked.
Maybe he's on like, you know, in the space station where they're just chilling out, you know, like that always seems to happen on those old 80s and 90s or 70s, 80s movies. They'll just don't wear clothes. I can see myself doing that, just wearing like a little white triangle of cloth over me, just being like, hey.
I
could not see you doing that. I don't want to see that. Don't. So I'm stopping that whole time. We're moving on real quick from that whole situation. I love... Robbie Duck says, I love retro futurism. Yeah, dude. I could see, I don't know if that's in reference to maybe them redoing some stuff, but I could see that. What do they call it? Neoclassic space, right? I mean, like, there's a whole theme people work on. It's a whole mock people do. Yeah. It's that style.
It could be.
It could be done well.
Be done very well. Lego
remake. Yeah. True North Bricks. I feel some of the success of Ninjago has to do with the new themes they experiment with each year, kind of like the different space themes we had. That was the other theme I was gonna put into the rant about Lego stuffing things in. Yeah, Lego Ninjago gets everything, and you know it's unfortunately it does lead to their success, but it's the success of reluctant people buying it because they don't have a choice. And I think that's pretty sad. Like, I've bought some Ninjago because I thought it looked cool, but other reasons I bought it were because it had parts or themes or stuff in it that I wanted in my collection or wanted because I liked what it looked like, but didn't care at all about the ninjas that came with it or that it was a Ninjago theme. That was not a sale point for me whatsoever. And I'm like, dude, and I would totally have been more interested in whatever it was that I purchased if it had been its own theme outside of the umbrella.
I don't know what little boys are like thinking nowadays, right? But when I was 10, I wanted to be a ninja for like 5 minutes, and then I was done with it.
Ninjas got big.
Yeah.
Ninjas and pirates.
I remember telling my dad that I wanted a pair of nunchucks, and he's like, no. And I was like, okay, I'm not a ninja.
I mean, there is the whole, like, kung fu movie culture that came up through, I mean, it's as old as Wild West movies, right? So, like, there is some of that. I see that. I see the appeal. And I'm not saying get rid of Ninjago or Ninjago sucks. What I'm saying is give us other stuff, too, and stop throwing everything in there and, like, trying to, like, shoehorn it in and then getting successful on it just because people are buying it because they like the look of it.
I mean, even there's if they don't a couple like alright sets, I think, in there, but
I think so. Yeah, it's very successful for Lego, but I think it's successful under false pretenses to a certain extent. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Oh, man. Yeah, let's see. Commander Cold from Ice Planet is one of the best leaders. Yes, that's his name. He was in Lego Racers, I think. Yeah, he was. He was in Lego Racers, the first one. A video game. For those of you who don't know, it was a video game we played. We're oldish. Sorry. Back on the Windows 98, right. Bro. Oh, my goodness. Let's see. My issue with Ninjago is we got onto a Ninjago train here. Whoops. It's a Lego Live. I mean, come on. Like, Ninjago's got to come up, right? The issue is that Lego uses it for all their... Okay, yeah. All their original themes. It was the fact in which one faction always has to be a ninja. Right. That's what I was saying. Like, I always buy it for the enemies. The crazy, like, the one that was on the islands recently with the the warriors with the double stacked heads, and they were like orcs with like the Islander shields and stuff like that. That was crazy cool. It was cool, and I got it for those guys. Didn't give a crap about the ninjas. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Wish they had original themes.
Ninjago makes me want to go to sleep.
Yeah. Let's see. The Lego Den says, "Oh, the redhead. Yeah. She's on the deep freeze. Is she? I think she's on the base too. I could be wrong. Someone could confirm that, but I thought she came on the main base.
I've got them all, but I can't remember.
Yeah. The Brick Stash says Space Police is nice. Thumbs up. SP1, SP2, SP3. In Space Police 3, the special, the minifigs, different kind of aliens. Honestly, Space Police 3 made me mad. I didn't like the aliens. I didn't like the ships. But I did like the Space Police station. That was cool.
They had
cool set.
Two of the ships in Space Police 3 were good.
I think it was weird because there were a couple that I didn't like at all. And then there were a couple that were, actually, you're right, there were a couple that were really cool. It was definitely more of like a gangsters.
It was, and it was eerily close to that movie Titan AE, like the aliens.
Yeah,
it was just like
that's an animated movie, right? And I think Matt Damon is actually one of the voice actors for it. Yeah, I know exactly.
It had all those weird creatures, and that's what that whole thing reminded me of there.
Yeah, kind of a wild vibe for sure. Makes sense for Lego. I'll give them that. They were always trying to push the envelope with weird, zany stuff. So I get it. I do actually have I have the space limo that has a minifig called Brick Daddy, and he's like straight up just a gangster leader. He's got like a fedora and a purple suit, and I'm like, dude, this is like a little like
it's a little weird
here for kids. Like
Brick
Daddy, come on now, like talking Lego space pimps out here, man. It's getting a little wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love their space police station with the cool pods you could drop in, and like the big. They kind of went back to they were the different mold, but the big windows, the blue trans windows coming off of it and everything looked really clean. James 5 Westman says maybe we'll get a Monorail for the 90th anniversary set in August. Sure, let's hope so. I don't know. People are talking about now that it's going to be like 3 in 1, like one of each in like a large, really big box, and you get a Castle of Space and whatever the other one was. No one remembers. Pirate, that's what it was, I think. I hope Bionicle doesn't rear its ugly head in there, but they did make it to the finals, and we'll see what Lego does with that. Lego Den says Star Wars will always sell. I think you're right, but I used to be a Star Wars collector, and I don't buy it anymore. So there has been a shift, at least for some people, because I'm part of that shift. So, but I have my own reasons. We can talk about that another time for not buying Lego Star Wars stuff. And they are not, they're not political or anything like that. It's just the way Lego handled it. I just don't like the way they're producing sets anymore. Let's see. The Lego Brick Stash in Space Police 2, there's a leader, Captain Magenta. Did I read that right? My eyes are getting... Yeah, I think so. I didn't know that. That's cool, though. Is he a specific... I don't know if he's a specific figure, though, because I don't remember... Oh, wait. Space Police 2. Yeah. We just talked about him. He had the cool little shoulder ornament, epaulets things and all that. Cool. Yeah. He's awesome.
That guy.
That thing. Yeah, he's awesome. Okay, I scrolled way back in the comments. Sorry, I was getting caught. There's a lot of people. Dude, we really appreciate the engagement tonight. It has been fantastic.
There's no way we can
I've been basically reading comments after last night.
There's no way.
No, so I do apologize. I apologize beforehand. I have skipped several comments.
If we go through every comment, there's got to be more comments, and then it's just going to drag on for... We'll be so far down the rabbit hole, we won't even know what day it is.
because what happens is I'll respond or you'll respond to a comment. We'll have a little conversation about it. Then like 3 other people will comment on the conversation we're having about the comment.
I mean, I think we've wrapped
oh
up
my goodness.
Futuron overall.
Yeah. I think we've already strayed.
I mean, we do that every time
pretty hard.
It is what it is.
But that's okay. I mean, that's kind of the natural flow of conversation. But yeah, man, do you have any final thoughts or closing comments about Futuron? You kind of wrapped it up like about 10 minutes ago.
I mean, it's pretty cool. But, I mean, you know, if when the time is right, it'd be kind of cool to like go through and build a few.
Yeah, I agree. Not your favorite space
but
theme, though,
it's definitely cool. It's a game changer.
No,
so that makes it cool.
Yeah, I agree. And what's interesting for me about Futuron is, and you made a good distinction at the beginning of this, and I think maybe a lot of people do this. I know I did. Is I wrapped Futuron into classic space, and it's very much set apart in the sense that it's like it's a concise new kind of era for Lego space. And so, yeah, I agree with you there that it's a game changer for sure. And yeah, some of my love for some of the Futuron stuff, I realized it was actually love for Futuron, not classic space. Though in my head, I thought, oh yeah, it's just classic space. I love some of that stuff. So I like coming in and looking at it a little closer and seeing that there is a distinction between the two. And it's fairly unique. So that's quite interesting. Heather's Bricks, I wanted to read this one just because Titan AE looks like Galador.
No, she's not wrong. Galador was awful.
I would say Titan AE, is that what it was called?
Yeah, definitely.
Is better than Galador. Yeah. Oh, man. Let's see. Yeah. One thing that I thought was cool about the Monorail set is the use of the light and the sound. And I will bring this into kind of my closing thoughts about Futuron. The use of all of that in several of their kits, even some of the smaller ones, was very cool. It felt a lot more modern, streamlined. Had the batteries, the 9-volt battery system
printed on the side. That made it so cool.
Yeah. Which you mentioned, didn't you, in the last stream, where you're like, what does that mean?
When you're a kid, you don't know.
And then you're like, oh. Right. No.
And then,
you thought it was like the faction like logo or
it's
something.
A special battery, and you're like, oh, God, how much does that cost? Does it come with it?
Right. Yeah. So what was cool is it was actually, I was trying to compare dates and stuff. So besides some really, really wonky light bricks that actually had wires with metal pegs that poked into them. I don't know if you've ever seen these. They had a little light with the little conduit next to it. And you plug in these little funky wires and then plug it into a big battery box. Like we're talking like 80s, maybe even earlier than that. Okay, so besides those, this is the first time we see Lego compact streamline these type of features. Right, and you can see it very well displayed actually on this set right up here, right? Where you can see, and it's sophisticated as hell. Like, you flip this around and it would do different, like, patterns and flashes. Like, if you built it one way, it would go one way. You flip it around, it would stay on. But this had 2 sounds in it. You turn it one direction, it makes one sound. You turn it another way, it goes another sound.
There was an airport fire engine a few years after that came out. I had that one.
Yeah.
And it was the same box.
Yeah, I remember that one. It was the Jetport Fire Squad. It was the same
battery unit and light system.
Yeah. Yep. And then these guys, I was always intrigued that they actually put metal underneath these studs. And they would be conductor bricks that you could panel across to different things and use them like a power grid.
Pretty gnarly.
That's genius, in my opinion. Like, that's next level. And we got all of that in Futuron. as well as some other Lego City and light kits and stuff like that. So I think that's a really cool feature that they brought to us through all of this stuff. And that's kind of where I'm going to end it on Futuron. It's a cool theme. And yeah, I'd like to talk about more space stuff. People were pretty hyped for this one. They were talking a lot about stuff in the comments. That was really fun to see. So yeah, we'll be bringing in more space stuff. We're going to do some Aqua Zone. Honestly, we'll just talk about pretty much everything by the end of this. We'll have covered
It'll be 10 years
the history of Lego. A succinct look at the history of Lego and our interpretation of it.
Next week, though, we're going to talk about some castle. Not sure yet what.
Yeah. I'll get with you behind the scenes, and we'll figure out what castle theme we want to cover next week. But yeah, we're going to jump back into the Middle Ages, and yeah, we're going to do that. Oh, you know what? One last thought. The aesthetic of Futuron reminds me very heavily of 2001: A Space Odyssey. Like that sheer, clean, cold vacuum of space feel. I could hear the music. I should have put that on my little live stream, like countdown, cool. The Space Odyssey song. But yeah, that's a vibe I get from Futuron anyway. Yes. Next time, what, Dragon Knights? What? We already talked about Dragon Knights. Yeah. So next week we'll talk about Castle. We'll let you guys know. We'll post it. What theme we're going to cover. What faction we're going to cover. But yeah, if you are interested in learning about Dragon Knights or want our wacky take on the Dragon Knights, Black Knights, Dragon Masters, we have live streams either on your YouTube channel or on my live stream. Yep. If you can't find it on mine, it's on yours. So yeah, take a look at that if you're interested in listening to another one of these crazy conversations about Lego. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks for joining in.
Thank you so much for
sorry we couldn't get to all the comments. Obviously, I'm completely spent. I'm like half asleep right now.
I understand. Sorry, I'm dragging it out. I'm all like, oh, it's only 7 o'clock here. And you're like,
I've worked like 15 hours today. I'm done.
All right, I'm going to let you get off here. You're going to get some sleep. Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time, even while you're on the road traveling, to join up with us, Andrew. Of course. We really appreciate it. So,
all right, everybody have a good night. And
will you have a good night?
Next week.
Yep. Thank you again, everyone. Have a good one. All right, take it easy.